everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about the top 10 things that you should know before getting into the information technology business. This is based on my over 30-year career, and I've worked as a programmer, a software development manager, a software architect, and then finally as an IT executive. So based on my experiences, I'll tell you both the good and the bad about being in the information technology business. So let's go ahead and get started. So to be fair, I've divided this video into two parts. In the first part, I'll talk about the good or the benefits of being in the IT business. And the second part, maybe I'll talk about some of the limitations or the not so good about being in the IT business. So let's go ahead and start and look at the advantages first. The first benefit that we'll look at is being in the IT business affords you a very good salary. Programmers, architects, DevOps engineers, cloud engineers, and IT managers all command very good salaries. Programmer salaries average $105,000 a year, software architects $138,000, and software engineering managers average over $137,000. I should note this is for the US, and I got these statistics from Indeed.com, but you can get the idea that these are very good paying jobs. So let's go ahead and look at the next benefit. The next benefit about being in the IT business is, particularly right now, there is a shortage of trained people to work in the information technology business. So for example, if you look at cloud computing positions, there are over 50,000 cloud computing positions available in the US today, and they're available from 3,701 employers and represent 101,913 open positions worldwide today. So I got this out of Forbes. It doesn't take long to look around to see how many open jobs there are in the information technology business. So this is a terrific time to go into this business because of the high demand. So let's go ahead and look at another advantage of being in the information technology business. Another terrific benefit about being in the information technology business is mobility. And that is, after you've mastered some core IT skills or perhaps a programming language or a cloud computing platform, it's fairly easy to move to another company that uses the same hardware and software platform. So if you get stuck in a terrible job, if you're well trained and you have some experiences, it's pretty easy to move to another company that has a similar type of technology. So that's another benefit, is you won't get stuck maybe in a dead-end job. If you have some skills, you have the ability to move to another company that perhaps has a better environment. So let's go ahead and look at yet one more benefit. Another advantage is many IT companies now support remote work, and so you can work from home. This is a great advantage in that you can save a large amount of time and money. And IT jobs are particularly well suited for working from home. So the only thing you'll probably need is a high-speed internet connection and some type of computing equipment so that you can do your job remotely. But this is a huge advantage. It will save you that long, arduous commute every day. And trust me, I now work at home and I don't miss commuting to work. It's a fantastic opportunity. And this is another huge advantage of many IT jobs. So let's go ahead and look at our last advantage. The last advantage I'll talk about is business knowledge. Since you're involved perhaps in programming or maybe support of a system in terms of DevOps or operational support, you'll be in the position to really understand how the business operates. Many IT departments support mission-critical systems that are really the core of how the company does business. And this knowledge is very valuable, and it can lead to a promotion or another opportunity in the company. Since you can really acquire that detailed business knowledge, you really might become the go-to expert on how a lot of these business processes really function on a day-to-day basis. So let's go ahead and move on to the next part. Okay, so now we got the good out of the way. Let's look at maybe the not so good. Sounds pretty good so far. Great salary, high demand, you can move around, you can work at home, all great things, but like all good things, there's also some drawbacks as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at what some of the potential drawbacks of working in the information technology business might be. The first area I'll talk about, the limitation or maybe a negative part of the business, are tight deadlines. Deadlines around IT projects can be critical to the success of the company, and some projects might be driven by legislative deadlines that really can't be changed. Your industry might be regulated in some type of way, and they may have a certain date that you have to implement something by. So fines or penalties might be involved for missing these types of deadlines, and all of these things can lead to a very high level of stress. Some people are better at dealing this than others, but tight deadlines and that focus around getting something out the door on time can lead to a high amount of stress. So let's go ahead and maybe talk about something else that might be a limiting factor for you in the IT business. Another potentially negative factor with the information technology business is the potential for very long work hours. To go along with those tight deadlines might be a lot of hours to meet those deadlines, particularly when the project's coming to an end. And if you work in an IT support position, you'll probably have to work long hours fixing problems if there are any types of service outages. Most hardware and software upgrades also happen on off hours, and many times this is on weekends or holidays and the very time where you don't want to be working. So if you're not really up for long hours, this is probably not a good business for you. So particularly at the end of projects, I've worked for startup companies and worked some ridiculously long hours and have spent the night at work many times. So if long hours are not in it for you, then this is probably not the right business for you. Let's go ahead and look at some other things that are typical of a particular environment in the IT business. Another thing that you'll have to learn in the IT business is how to deal with change. The IT business is constantly changing, and you'll need to adapt to that change. And the pace of change is continuing to increase. You'll need ongoing training to adapt to all of this change. So certifications, languages are changing, people are migrating to the cloud. All of this represents a ton of new technology, and you'll need to continually update your certifications throughout your career to remain competitive. And this can be a challenge for a lot of people. Sometimes people go into this business and they master one type of technology, like a mainframe type of technology, or they become a COBOL programmer years ago, and they simply don't want to change to the new platforms. But this is inevitable in this business as things are changing very rapidly, so you'll have to keep up with that. So that's something else to consider, whether you're adaptable to change or not. So let's go ahead and look at the next area. The next area I'll talk about is stress. So working with mission critical applications is a stressful job. Many of these systems deal with large amounts of customer and a large amount of money. And so when these types of systems go down, you'll be called in to work on these production problems until they're resolved. And most of the time, these systems have a ton of visibility. So don't be surprised if senior management members, the CEO himself or herself is involved in whatever happens with these system problems. So if you don't really like that kind of exposure, again, this is a limiting factor. But many times when you work on these systems, it really is working on a tightrope without a net. So it can be very difficult and very stressful in peak situations, particularly if something has been hacked into or a service or a program is down for an extended period of time. So let's go ahead and look at one more area. All of these limiting factors can lead to burnout. So if you're working lots of long hours and you have prolonged periods of high stress, it really can lead to a career burnout, and really it leads somebody to find a secondary career or something that they want to move into after 10 or 20 or 30 years in the IT business. And so my advice to you is to develop some secondary skills along the way that you can transition to a new career if and when you need to. I've really enjoyed my career in the information technology business, but after 30 years, I've moved more into the education side of things and more out of the production side of supporting mission critical systems. And I'm happy that I did both, but I'm glad that I developed some secondary skills along the way. So I had the option to do some other things later on in my career when I was maybe not so fond of being under constant amount of stress. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for your interest in this video. I hope it's given you a realistic look at what a career in information technology might look like, with some of the advantages and also realistically what some of the disadvantages and hardships might be when you work long hours in a career in information technology. For me, it's been a great business, and I hope you have some excellent opportunities ahead of you in this business. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up button or the like button, and consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks again, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.